In a small mountain village, where clouds kissed the rooftops and the wind smelled of pine and old earth, lived an elderly man named Haru. His days were calm, almost silent, measured by the rising sun, the blooming of flowers, and the slow boiling of his morning tea. Once a skilled woodworker, Haru had retired from carving. His calloused hands now tended to a modest herb garden. He lived alone, not because he chose solitude, but because time had quietly taken away the ones he loved. Still, he held no bitterness. His days passed like drifting clouds, gentle, uneventful, and a little lonely. Each morning, Haru would sit by a small pond beside his home. The surface of the water reflected his aging face, his tired eyes, and sometimes the shadow of a bird flying overhead. He had grown used to the silence, until one spring morning, that silence was broken. That morning, as Haru poured his tea, a faint rustle came from the nearby hedge. From between the leaves emerged a little bird, wet, trembling, and clearly lost. It hopped toward him cautiously, as if unsure whether to flee or stay. Haru knelt down, extending a finger. The bird stared at him, then gently stepped onto his hand. Its feathers were damp, its breathing fast, but it didn't resist. He brought it close to his chest, wrapping it in the warmth of his old shawl. "You're safe now," he whispered. "No harm will come to you here." He found a small bamboo box, lined it with soft cloth, and placed it near the fire. The little bird closed its eyes, not out of fear, but comfort. Over the next few days, the little bird rested while Haru cared for it like a dear companion. He offered rice grains and bits of crushed nuts. The bird, weak at first, slowly began to peck, chirp, and flap its wings gently. Haru talked to it every day about the cedar trees he used to carve, the festivals he once danced in, and the songs his wife used to hum while picking herbs. The bird listened, or so it seemed. It chirped at pauses, fluffed its feathers when Haru laughed, and nestled closer when he spoke of sorrow. In that humble home, where once only wind and silence lived, now there was song, light, fluttering but full of meaning. Haru no longer drank tea alone. He had someone to share it with. It was hard to tell who was healing whom. Yes, the bird's feathers had grown shiny again. Its eyes sparkled. It could fly in short circles now. But Haru's change was even more profound. He started waking up before dawn to prepare fresh water for his guest. He trimmed his beard, swept the house more often, and even hummed while watering the garden. The emptiness that had long camped inside him now had no place to stay. The villagers noticed. "Haru looks lighter these days," they'd say. Some even peeked into his yard, curious about the soft songs and laughter they hadn't heard in years. The old man with the tired eyes was smiling again. One morning, the bird flew higher than before, up to the old maple tree above the pond. It chirped loudly, beautifully, as if singing a final verse of an old song. Haru stepped out with his tea, sensing something was different. The bird glided down, landing not on the porch or his hand, but on his shoulder. It stayed there, still and peaceful, then brushed its beak against his cheek, soft as a kiss, and then it flew, upward, steady, confident. It circled once, twice, and disappeared beyond the mountain ridge. Haru did not chase. He only bowed slightly and whispered, Thank you, my friend. For a moment, silence returned. But it wasn't empty anymore. It was full of presence, of memories, of a gift left behind. Haru sat by the pond, his hands still warm from the bird's farewell. And for the first time in years, he looked around not with longing, but with gratitude. He saw the flowers, the sky, the shimmering water, all glowing as if touched by the bird's gentle spirit. Soon, children from the village began visiting more often. They listened to Haru's stories, touched the carvings he once thought forgotten, and left with pockets full of wisdom and seeds. The garden bloomed wider, the laughter grew louder, the home no longer stood in solitude. People asked Haru what magic that little bird brought. He would smile and say, "It didn't give me magic. It reminded me I was still alive." The bird hadn't spoken, but it had taught that even a wounded creature has the power to heal. That love, once offered, always returns. That presence, not words, is the purest comfort. And most of all, it reminded him that life still waited for him. In gardens, in stories, in quiet mornings by the pond. Sometimes we wait for grand miracles. But maybe, just maybe, the miracle is a tiny bird in need of shelter. Open your hands, offer warmth, and you may receive the greatest gift in return. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Wisdom for more gentle lessons from life's quiet corners.